Hello, and welcome to Lit by Moonlight, where it's not a phase to wake up every Monday morning with a feeling of dread.
Yay!
Yay! It really does feel like that. Like, we can't have a break. Today, we're reviewing HBO's The Last of Us, and we're going to be taking a look at episode 6, titled Kin.
In this episode, we open on Joel and Ellie asking a couple living in a remote cabin for directions as they continue their search for Joel's brother, Tommy. The couple warns them not to cross the River of Death, but Joel and Ellie do anyway. There, they are confronted by ranchers who take them to a small settlement where Tommy is living with his wife, Maria. While at the ranch, Joel struggles with a sense of having failed Sarah and currently failing Ellie. He asks Tommy to take Ellie, which upsets her, and after they fight, Joel decides to give Ellie a choice to come with him or stay at the settlement. Ellie opts to go with him instantaneously, and they ride off to the next Firefly hub in Colorado. Though the hub is abandoned, raiders find Joel and Ellie before they can escape. Joel is then stabbed through the stomach and collapses after having lost a lot of blood as Ellie huddles over him and begs him not to die. Yay! Another fun episode of The Last of Us!
What a lovely, comforting, warm, cozy episode.
What a way to bring your Sunday night to an end. Hi, I'm Caitlin, and I need a new DivCree edit of Joel in that new jacket. Hello?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about that jacket, too. This leather jacket.
Oh, the second...
Leather jacket.
I literally had to, stop myself from saying out loud, oh, he looks good, because I didn't want to interrupt it with everybody else I was watching with.
I am Emberlyn, and I think that Pedro Pascal should always be riding a horse, regardless of what he's doing. At the Emmys? Horse. Brushing his teeth? Horse. Making another hit television show with a Rotten Tomatoes rating above 98%?
Horse.
Horse forever, baby.
Yeah.
Horse till I die.
Yeah, I'm totally here for that. That was, honestly, a great episode, and that's what I'm going to focus on, is horse and jacket.
Horse and jacket, yeah. Nothing else.
Nothing else?
Yes.
End of the podcast. Good show, everybody.
Yes. Joel's body remains fully intact, as do all of his bodily functions. He's fine.
Thriving.
So, Caitlin, what hooked you for this episode?
First of all of the awards to that couple in the cabin, they were so funny. Literally just not taking Joel seriously from the start. Great. And just not, giving two shits about Joel and Ellie just coming into their house at gunpoint. They're just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
What do you want? You're not going to survive.
That couple was so cute.
They were so cute.
They were literally so cute.
Yeah, so that was really funny. But what actually hooked me was, and by hooked, I do mean hurt me, because this is The Last of Us, as we all know. Joel having panic attacks this episode. Oof. They replayed Henry's ending from the last episode in the very beginning of this episode, and initially I was like, oh, that's going to be staying with Ellie, because clearly... I just thought, because she watched it happen, and, the POV was on her last episode when it happened, so I'm like, oh, this is going to be messing her up. But then we find out that it was really meant for Joel, and how Henry and Sam could have easily been him and Ellie, and his absolute panic over keeping Ellie safe, and just seeing him struggle with that throughout this entire episode just made everything 100 times heavier than it already was, so woof.
Yeah. I feel like we talked about this a little bit last episode, how it definitely seems like the intention was for Henry and Sam to be mirrors. And that hurts.
It hurts me.
It's interesting, too, because in the most recent podcast episode that accompanies the show, Craig and Neil, right? Talk a little bit about how the couple in the beginning also kind of acts as a mirror image of Joel and Ellie, and how every character that Joel and Ellie encounter in some way does. And I love that because they definitely also have that quippy back and forth between each other. So
yes.
Yeah, it was, I found them very endearing. They just made me smile. I had so many quotes from them in my favorite quotes list, just because they just I wasn't sure where the episode was going. We see this guy, we see him going to this cabin after hunting, and then we see Joel and his wife just sitting there chilling. It's so funny. It's just such a good way to start the episode.
It really was. Did you have a favorite quote from the episode?
Yeah, so as I just said, a lot of quotes from them. but namely when the husband says, "You made him soup?" And the wife responds, "Yeah, I did. It's cold out."
Yeah, duh.
Of course I did. He came here with a gun. He threatened me at gunpoint. Soup. Yeah.
I would just love to see like the interaction of Joel coming in with the gun pointed at her, and she just looks at him and goes, "Want some soup?"
You cold?
And the fact that he clearly said yes, because like it was an empty bowl, right? Like,
yeah, he clearly had some soup.
Like, all right, he had some soup, but like,
he's like,
did
fine.
you eat it at gunpoint? Like,
when your captor, when you make your captor soup.
When your captor's your new mom.
Yeah. I love that quote because I think it's just such an example of like how good this show is at balancing tragedy and humor.
Yeah.
Aside from the infected, any other groups of like power dynamics going on in this post-apocalyptic world, we're reminded over and over again that there are just people that have their own intentions and like personalities and senses of humor that they maintain in light of tragedy, and I love that. Like,
yeah,
this might as well just be like an anthology of post-apocalypse stories, rather than a show about zombies.
Yeah.
Though I'm sure we've said that 100 times already.
Yeah.
I love that Ellie has like this special affinity towards Sally Ride.
Yeah.
When she says Sally fucking ride in response to Joel, I think that's really sweet. It's nice to see her both processing and dreaming of a life where she can have her dreams actualized if there's a vaccine.
Yeah.
I remember thinking about that again later when she's reading the diary of the girl who used to live in that house where she's staying in the settlement, and she's like, "Oh, is this what they used to worry about?" Like, but it's just so crazy, I think, for her to wrap her head around that her life could have been like that instead.
Yeah, and that she doesn't know what that life was like at all.
Yeah.
Like, all you had to worry about was what you're going to wear that day and, like, who you're going to like in school. Like, hello.
Yep. Speaking of Ellie, when she says, "Damn." Like,
yeah, that was on my list,
when they
too.
get to the dam, I was like, nah, that's so her.
Yeah, and I can't remember what the author's name was, but when Joel was just like, yeah, you're no insert author of the book that she loves. Like, I thought that was really cute.
Yeah, and then when she's like, "Actually, I don't think I've ever had a proper meal. This is fucking amazing," when they get to the settlement and they're eating, and Joel tells her to mind her manners. I was like, dad and daughter moment. That's so funny. It was really cute. How about you? What were your favorite ones?
I really liked in the beginning when Ellie said, "Oh, I must have missed all the street signs in the enormous fucking forest." Like, it's so good when they're like asking for directions. There was just so many lines that just like hurt me, that were like so innocent on the surface but just deep down hurt me. Like when Joel's saying he just wants to retire to a farmhouse and have sheep. Like, Craig and Neil, I know what you're doing and I'm breaking down your doors. Let me in. I just want to talk. When, and in addition to that, when Joel says you deserve a choice, Neil, again, I'm coming for you. When Ellie and Joel, after they leave Jackson, they're going to the college where like the Fireflies were supposed to be, and Joel tells her that he actually wanted to be a singer when he was younger, and she's like, "You need to sing for me," and he's like, "No," and she goes, "Well, you're singing for me later. I'm going to save the fucking world, man. It's the least you can do for me." And he goes, "Fair enough." Like that was just like so sweet. Just two lines that really hurt me, but like also I'm just so in awe with their delivery is from Joel when he says, "I just know that when I wake up I've lost something," when he wakes up from his like basically like PTSD dreams. Where is his EMMY? Just wondering if he like lost it somewhere or if they haven't given it to him yet for some reason. And Bella Ramsey's delivery of, "So don't tell me that I'd be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared." So good. Like that part in the game hurt as well. And in the podcast, Craig talks about how he kind of has like a sense memory with that scene, and that like that's why he really wanted like the wallpapers to be exactly the same. Like you see the bay window that she's sitting in, you already know what's about to happen if like you know what's going to happen. And it's so good because it's one of the bigger scenes in the game. And I know for me it's the one that stuck with me the most, just because of how emotional it was between both Ellie and Joel, and just how she shoves him and she yells at him, and then he has the whole line of like, "You're right, you're not my daughter, and I sure as hell ain't your dad." Like, ow. But just the way that Bella like said that line, their voice breaks, and it's just so good, and it hurt just as much as it did in the game. So I'm just glad that they did that scene such good justice. Not that I was worried, because they've done so well so far, but it was just incredible to see that played out with so much more emotion.
Yeah, it was like I remember just the whole time going, oh,
yeah,
gasping, like, oh. So yeah, oh my gosh, they're acting, hello,
so good.
Like,
they both need Emmys. Where are they?
Incredible. So what song are you listening to while you ride your horse to Colorado, Caitlin?
I have two. One to reflect them, like, towards the beginning of when they were going to separate, and then one for the rest of their time afterwards. So the first one is All Our Pieces by Collective Soul. There's a line that says, all our pieces we gather up, but they just don't seem to fit, going our separate ways. So owie. And then my second one is Times Like These by the Foo Fighters, but specifically the acoustic version. And for the lines, it's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again, because I just feel like that really reflects Joel and his, like, opening up more to Ellie and allowing himself to be more emotionally available for her and open up in that relationship with her. And it just, makes me cry. Mm-hmm. How about you?
I obviously went a little crazy about this episode. So I have a playlist for this.
Nice.
I have a couple playlists that are just like country music that I think is not shitty.
Yeah.
But I ended up making a new one called Put Pedro Pascal on a Horse Challenge. And I'm very proud of it. Yeah, I'll be linking it. But I have some notable songs from that. I'm going to just list them all. I'm going to explain why, so that when you go and listen to my playlist, you can be like, oh, I understand. She's insane. Neon Moon by Brooks and Dunn in honor of Ellie's desire to be an astronaut.
Oh.
Rhinestone Cowboy for Joel in honor of his desire to be a rancher.
Nice.
I Will Always Love You by Miss Dolly Parton, because they love each other. Like, they are our parental and child figures in each other's lives, and they have to accept that.
Yeah.
And then I have multiple others. Old Man by Neil Young, I feel like just is so fitting for their relationship. Like, old man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you. I need someone to love me the whole day through. Like, come on. Like, hello. I literally forgot to include this one because, as I said last week, Neil Young is off Spotify, but it's just like the whole episode, after the episode was over, I walked in the house and I was like, oh, and then it just like kind of hit me. And I have like a million more. I will say Buddy by Willie Nelson, another fitting. And then lastly, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. What was it? Oh, Horse with No Name by America. Just like when they're riding through Wyoming, when they're riding through the mountains, that song was going on in my head. Yeah, I had so many. I just love this episode so much aesthetically. So I had to make a whole thing about it.
I love it. I love that that's how you cope. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I feel like it goes both ways, because Pedro Pascal is well known for his other cowboy-esque character from the Kingsman series. So, like, it works so many different ways. Like, whenever I'm sad, I'm, like, having a rough day, I'm going to put that playlist on and think about Pedro Pascal being a cowboy of sorts, and it'll make me very happy, I think.
Yeah.
So
you can't be sad when you have Pedro Pascal as a cowboy in your life.
Yes, no, for sure.
All right, Amberlyn, what character would you make nice hot soup for?
Joel. Pedro Pascal's acting this episode is just so incredible.
Emmy.
I feel like I always pay attention to how shows do panic attacks, because sometimes they just don't do them well. I'm specifically thinking about a specific instance with a recent HBO show where the panic attack was just a lot more over animated than I would think or want for a panic attack, and I found it a little insensitive. So I really enjoyed this portrayal of that.
Yeah.
And then just every single little, I feel like every microsecond of this episode for him, like every frame, he's doing a different, very good thing with his face. Like when he sees Sarah for a moment in the crowd and it's a woman with her child, that moment of like, oh, like that could have been her. Like the look on his face, like, brown puppy dog eyes, like, sir, the "you have no idea what loss is" line, talking about the ways he's failing her with Tommy, her being Sarah/Ellie, and then letting Ellie have a choice to come with him and just getting all starry-eyed about that. Like, Pedro Pascal, I mean, like, he starts the show so hard and you just get this sense that he has, like, lost all of the fucks to give. And you just get this sense as this episode progresses that hardened exterior he's used to protect himself from others is kind of melting. And the thought of losing Ellie, the panic that's causing him, is eating away at him. Yeah. So I really, I can't say enough good things about his acting in this episode. It was really fantastic. And then the same with Bella Ramsey. I felt her in a lot of her scenes. So
yeah.
How about you? Well, I feel like you probably have the same answer. But
yeah. I mean, like, literally same.
The
Joel,
horse.
The horse. I love Shimmer. Loved the cameo. She's great.
Shimmer. Nice.
Nice. Joel, of course. My very first note in all caps is give the man an Emmy. Hello. I'm ready for the Emmy sweep of The Last of Us this year, please, and thank you.
Yeah.
No, but like to build off of yours, like the entire time the show has been going, we've been seeing him very slowly be more open with Ellie, and we can see how much he cares for Ellie and how he's seeing her as a kid, because of course, like, we're all not just reading into it, but like we can see that on the surface, but he's just not allowing himself to think like that. And you can like see the moments in the beginning where it's like he thinks about it, like, not think about it, but like you can see like the instinct there. It's like, this is a child and she's mine now.
Yeah.
But also you see the mask like slip over. It's like to remember, like, oh wait, like, gotta remember where I am, you know? So for this episode, for his mind to finally catch up with him and just to see how absolutely terrified he is of losing Ellie and failing yet another child in this world was so heartbreaking. And the entire episode, all I could think about was in episode 3 when Bill said to Frank, "I was never afraid until you showed up."
Yeah.
That is just all what's going through Joel's breakdown. Like, he wasn't all that afraid. I mean, he had Tess, yes, but Tess could hold her own, you know? And
right.
Even if he was like protective of her, because of course he was, like, it's different between a grown adult woman and a child, you know, and especially given his past and the trauma that came with it. It's just the second Ellie showed up is just another way for him to be afraid again. And it just broke my heart seeing him be so vulnerable and just break down in front of Tommy like that. Like, it made my heart break, and I was, this entire episode I was shaking. And I think it's partly because, like, I knew how it was going to end, but like when that scene happened, it was just like tears down my face. Like, give this man an Emmy. Give this man an Emmy.
Yeah, I feel like this past couple episodes have obviously been heartbreaking, but this is the first episode where we really, really got to see Pedro Pascal's acting chops in full gear, and I just felt that the whole time. Yeah. Like, it was very good.
It was very good.
It seems like we have a lot of good things to say about this episode, so maybe it's the right time for us to move on to our peaks and valleys. Caitlin, I want to hear about what your first peak was.
Details. I'm, like, forever going to be impressed with the details that go into the set of this show, and more impressed with the fact that these are practical sets. You love to see it because practical will always be 10,000 times better than CGI. And it just proves that everyone who's working on the show cares about it feeling and looking like its source. Like, the college insane, like right down to the placement of the monkeys. Like the overhead shot of the building that they first walked into was incredibly accurate. It's like I knew exactly where they could find extra ammo if they needed it. Like incredible. The dam in Jackson looked so incredible. Like I've been there, I know these places, I've walked around, I've snooped in all of the buildings. Like let's go. And it's just incredible to see. Like it's one thing to be like, yeah, look at the outside of Jacksonville, like it looks very similar, but like then you, or like the college, but then you like walk into it and it's still like the same thing as the game. It's like the hotel in episode 2. It's like you walk in and you're like, yeah, I know this place, I've been here, like this is great. I also in a previous episode I talked about how I love how Joel doesn't seem invincible. And I loved the detail of his hand still bothering him from punching the Fedra officer to death, because like he couldn't get like the shoe, like the sole of the shoe off to like fix it. And then he like is like kind of like massaging his hand. I just thought that was such a good detail, because this Joel is not immune to pain. Like he can't fix himself by wrapping up his left arm over and over again. Like he's older, he's
a boomer.
He's a boomer, baby! And I just love how realistic all of that is. And just quickly, just to list off all of the nods to the gameplay, no spoilers, but just like the little details of opening up on a rabbit, Shimmer, the way that girl was definitely Dina, what the heck? Oh my god, that was so cool. And Ellie's jacket and the design of the room that Ellie was in, like I said before, with the wallpaper. Incredible. I cried just seeing it. Ellie trying to whistle, adorable. Love that. All of the dialogue straight from the game. They found and read a list of supplies that was left behind, and then Joel did a stealth kill. That was so great. I loved it. It's just incredible, and I will forever be going insane about all of these details in the rest of these episodes, because I am just amazed every week. Like you'd think it'd be old by now, but it's not. Like every week I'm like, wow, it's just like the game.
You just get that tattooed like on your forehead.
I should.
You just like point to it whenever.
Like, hey, Caitlin.
It
it's like,
becomes
yeah,
relevant.
It's just like the game. What was your first peak?
I think relevant to what you're saying, the setting, and then I guess in juxtaposition to that, the details. Like this episode, it's so visually beautiful.
Yeah.
The wide shots were what got me over and over again, of the rivers and the mountains and the colors, the woods, the snow, the light and lighting, the shot of them on the horse in the sun.
Yes, that was my favorite.
The very ending shot, where they're on the train tracks. This episode is so scenically appealing that I felt like it was complementing everything that was happening really well. The level of detail in the town, I can't get over. Like the Christmas lights, the Christmas tree, all the individual little homes, the little just, oh, so cute. And then like using elements like Christmas and Wyoming scenery to work kind of like the glue that holds together this larger story that's being told about Ellie and Joel's developing relationship. I just found that all really touching. I think when I reflect on this episode at the end of the season, it will probably be my favorite in terms of aesthetics, because I just felt like they took us out into a very remote part of Wyoming that could be scary because you don't know what's out there. It's so large, and yet is somehow also very surreal and calming, to the extent that I was over and over again thinking to myself, everything seems so okay. Why?
I know.
Like, it was just too comforting, too serene for me to be just persistently on my toes at the very end. It was great, though. Oh, my goodness.
It was very warm in Jackson County. Like, it really is like a whole other world there, and I think that's incredible that they are able to survive like that.
We love a commune moment. So, Caitlin, what was your second peak?
My second peak was Ellie and Joel's relationship, and Joel's acknowledgement that he is growing attached to her. Like, but like mainly what I really liked about this was seeing the difference in interactions before Jackson and after, and that is what I cried myself to sleep with last night. Are
you okay?
Yeah, fine. Why? No, but before Jackson, Joel is still distant. When Ellie asks when they're like at the little campfire, like what they're gonna do after they find the fireflies and like they take her blood and all that, like she uses "we" and he's like, "What do you mean we?" And then she amends it and he gives his answer of being a sheep farmer, which is such a lie. And he's still pretty short with her in most of their interactions. But then after Jackson, after he's come to the realization that he sees Ellie as his kid and she clearly wants to be with him and nowhere else, like they don't want to leave each other. That's not going to happen. Like they don't like that. He just completely changes. He's so much warmer towards her. They lean into each other. He smiles so much more with her and so easily. They have real conversations. Like they've had conversations before, but it's like very short and just kind of like no, here's the information that you need, whatever. Oh, here's a little quippy, joke or whatever. But like they're having actual conversation with each other. Like he's telling Ellie what the world was like before and like what he did and also how football works. And like it was just so sweet to see that. Like they're having fun. They're laughing together. Like he's teaching her how to shoot and they're making jokes with each other. They're like it's laughing together and not at like making jokes. Like I mean they're making jokes about each other, but they're both in on it now. And it just makes my little heart so warm. Just before they throw it out into the cold again. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
They were like,
I love it.
Here, have this. Now, here it goes. I'm going to take it away again.
You have 5 minutes. Go.
Yeah. So that was actually my peak as well, is seeing Joel in, like, peak dadhood. Yeah. Because you're absolutely right that Jackson, that experience kind of changes them. Mm-hmm. So to see them riding on the horse together and to see Ellie, like, put her head on his back and... Joel explaining football to Ellie and teaching her how to hunt. They have such great chemistry. That's essentially my peak, is that Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey have great chemistry. Yeah. Like you sense that they have this great dynamic and it makes the relationship and your anxiety to see them endure and survive, more palpable. Because this episode, like what you said, it really warmed my heart. It's a cold, cozy Christmas episode that ends very...
This is the Christmas special.
Sadly. So, oh my gosh, like, just thinking about it now, like, I can't do this. I can't if I can go on, like...
Yeah.
Wow. Like, I think it's taken about 6 episodes for... Not for HBO to sell me on their relationship, but for us to get to this point where this dynamic is, like, the key thing. And I just...
It's comfortable now. Like, they're at a comfy spot. Like, they know each other.
And so was I, very briefly. Very fleetingly. So, Caitlin, we're kind of talking about this fleeting sense of joy. In other words, we're hinting that there might be a valley concerning this episode. What was yours?
Dude, I was thinking this morning on my way to my appointment, I was like, every Monday morning I wake up, and it's not just dread, it's just like the feeling of, like, heavy, deep sigh. Like, like it's not even that I'm sad, it's just like,
Things
like,
persistently are sad.
Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, and like, again, it's just, like, knowing the story doesn't help at all. And I think it makes it worse. Because, like, I knew I wasn't going to be ready for the winter section of the story. But now that we've gotten a taste at how the show likes to make everything 100 times more freaking emotional and heartbreaking, the next episode scares the fuck out of me. I don't need to watch the trailer to know why. I just please ask that all of you pray for my strength in this trying time. I can't make it. And I'm afraid, listen, there's an episode that airs on my birthday. I'm terrified of what that episode's going to be.
Oh, happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to me. Like, what the fuck? I can't do this. This is gonna be so hard. I'm not even joking. The entire episode I was shaking last night. Shaking. I knew exactly that it was going to end with him getting impaled, and I was shaking. And I was like, this is fucking horrible. It's great, though. I love the show. 10 out of 10. Never
Craig
stop.
and Neil are bringing you a cake on your birthday. and setting it before you and lighting a candle and saying, "Happy birthday, Caitlin." And you're like, "Wow, thanks, Craig and Neil." And you cut it open and there's blood inside.
Yeah.
And tears.
Literally.
Yeah.
And tears. What was your valley?
Salty and bitter and sad.
Yay! More please.
Kind of the same. Like, I feel like this show is going to go down history as being like miserable. Like, it's great, but it's also just like every single episode ends this way. Like, they just can't. Like, I keep feeling like I need to amend my previous statement that this episode, like, that this show is about hope, because things are just persistently hitting the fan. Like, when things were good this episode, I spent the whole like entire thing with just like my toes clenched, because I've just been conditioned to expect something bad to happen. Like, the closer we got to the end, Vishwas, my partner, just started like freaking out. He's like, "Can you just like give me a blanket? I need to like hold on to something." And he like wrapped himself in it, and he was literally like hyperventilating, which is such a overdramatic thing to do. But you're
also so valid.
Like if you're just over and over again expecting something bad to happen in this show, it's like you're just kind of always perched, like ready for it. I'd like to tell you on the second watch that I'd be able to sit back and enjoy it, but not after they brought back Never Let Me Down Again.
Rude.
I am done. I'm finished. Like, I'm done. I've had enough. Like, I really, like, I'm stressed. I just want, like, give me one episode where things end, like, so good for them. Just one. Just one episode that'll allow me to sleep soundly, knowing that for at least 1 week of my life, Joel and Ellie can be suspended in a crystallized state of joy. Like, that's all I would like. I demand nothing else.
I think that was episode 4.
What the fuck was episode 4? I don't even remember.
They fell asleep laughing together, and if you just forget the fact that they woke up at gunpoint to Henry and Sam, that was your happy ending.
Yeah, who
that
died
is the best
at the end of the next episode. Great. I'm hurting. Anyway, I gotta change the subject. I can't think about this right now. What is this week's thing that you're the saddest that Joel and Ellie missed because of the apocalypse?
Tennis shots.
Oh, I mean, yeah, elaborate on that.
I'm thinking, okay, I know in the episode that I'm like laughing at, like, last night me putting this in all caps. It's really funny.
LOL, I just got that. Oh my
god. Technically he was stabbed with a wooden bat this episode, and I think tetanus is more for, like, you know, like metal, right? But in the game he was impaled by falling onto rebarb. And I think a tetanus shot would be good for him, and then he wouldn't have to worry about anything.
Is he going to get tetanus? Is that something that... Did tetanus shots not exist in 2003?
Maybe he needs a booster, but I don't think you're
Come on, Joel.
Come on, Joel. Also, don't take it out. That's like rule number 1 if you get stabbed. You don't take the thing that stabbed you out of your body.
That was edgy. He was like,
Come on,
I don't
Joel.
like that. Yeah.
Do better. What about you?
I guess I'm completely unrelated. Mine's Lizzo.
Nice. Any reason why, or just because?
Well, like, every reason why. I feel like a world where you've missed out on Lizzo is a very cold, unfeeling one.
Yeah.
Lizzo's awesome. I love Lizzo. Can you imagine a world without Lizzo? I don't know if I want to.
I think Joel would appreciate the lines, "Yeah, it's bad bitch o'clock. Yeah, it's 3:30.
I think if Joel, in any timeline, were in the celebrity sphere, I think that Joel would probably be dating Lizzo at some point.
Be dating Lizzo.
I think that they may be dating. I don't know. But I just feel like, or at least Brittany Broski. I feel like Brittany Broski would be like, hello? You know.
I think Brittany Broski would love to be married to Pedro Pascal.
Knowing Brittany Broski's obsession with Pedro Pascal. Yeah, I think so too.
She'd be thriving. She deserves it.
So, we did it.
Did it, Joel.
Another nightmare over. On a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate this nightmare? I'm not even gonna like quantify this. It's a fucking nightmare. How would you rate it?
Oh, this nightmare gets 5 out of 5. Still.
Yeah, great nightmare.
Great nightmare. 10 out of 10 will have again. The show never misses. What the absolute heck? This episode had they described it in the HBO podcast emotional action, and that's what it was. It really was.
What's unemotional action?
I don't think
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious.
No, it can't be though. They lost a whole member of their cast.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Listen, if this episode was the calm before the fucking storm, y'all. I can't deal with it. The remaining episodes are all going to hurt me, and like this, so many points in this episode are going to just be that much more significant as the show continues towards the end. Like, I mean, yeah, I just cannot believe how incredible this show is, and how every week I'm surprised at how emotional I am over it. And yeah, I'm a broken record, but that's what happens when the show breaks me every week. I'm just going to be saying the same things over and over again. It's all I know. It's all I know.
Would the Suicide Squad be considered unemotional action?
You're still stuck on it. I've never seen it.
Perhaps. I don't know. The Justice League? Zack Snyder's The Justice League? I feel like there's got to be something in there. I don't know. Anyway, no, you're right. This is only going to get worse. I can sense it. I can feel it in my little toes. But yeah, this one was also a definitive 5 for me. I will say, if you're just tuning in to listen to us talk about The Last of Us, there are probably forms of media that we've given a less than 5 rating to. In fact, there certainly are, but I don't think that's going to happen quite often with this show unless they really fuck it up.
Yeah,
so if you're looking for like concrete criticism, go to Reddit where all of your other sleazy, gross, sticky gamer boys are. I don't know what to tell you.
Honestly, this podcast is just an excuse for us to just yell about how much we love it.
Yeah.
And give no real criticism. Just sometimes you just gotta talk about how much you love something and not have to worry about people being like, well, actually.
I am not
definitely
here.
Given every episode a 5 out of 5.
I am not here to be like, at least not hot enough. I am not here to be like, Joel's too emotional. Like, did y'all play the game?
No.
Did you play the same game? Like, if you have criticism of The Last of Us that's like, ooh, gay! Like, I'm sorry.
By the way, the game is very gay.
Like, what are you talking about? You're crazy.
They're taking everything from the game. Everything that you hate about the show is from the game.
Yeah. Hilarious. Anyway, yeah. Loved it. I feel like this show illustrated everything that makes it good. I feel like this episode illustrated everything that makes this show good. It had a proper balance of Pedro and Bella putting their incredible acting chops on display, and like beautiful scenery and cinematography and aesthetics and beautiful music and a lot happening, which is good for my little restless brain. Like I need persistent things happening. So I appreciated that. I said, groaning, pulling the wooden bat out of my side. Thank you for listening to Live by Moonlight. Tune in next week when we review episode 7 of The Last of Us, Left Behind.
No.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to be left behind? Take a guess, everyone.
I know! And it hurts! I'm not ready! See you next week. Bye!